around, use the phone booths.
And there's a lot of realtor groups there.
Yeah. So then if you can, yeah, I mean, I got to look at the pricing again, but
yeah, maybe you guys get a discount.
No discounts at WeWork.
No,
they were hardcore, man. They were expensive. But there's also other places like I'm in one right now in Phoenix. Like my Phoenix office started off of one, and it was like half the cost of WeWork and nicer. And you got better.
Regis,
no, it wasn't a Regis. It was like a local one.
Okay.
But if you find a local one that like a lot of small, like kind of like they look like this, kind of like that.
This is the flex space, yeah. This whole office, this whole place, or no? No.
I just rent this space from them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a shared copy. Ready?
Yep.
Ready.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Ivan Cimental, host of the Replay Podcast. And on today's episode, we have a good friend, partner, boss, all of the above. Chris, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, man. It's so weird to hear. You said that a couple of times. You call me boss, and I'm like, it's weird because I feel like I'm more like a partner to what you're trying to build. So, I look at it like that. I'm never trying to manage from a boss perspective,
yeah.
but I'm stoked about what you're looking to do, and it's going to be fun. So it's kind of a big announcement for you too, to say that.
This is
what's going on, man?
Where am I at now? What am I doing?
Dude, it's so crazy. So I want to hear your side of it, right? But I'll tell you my side of it. So
before that, tell people who you are, what you do.
All right,
all that good stuff, all that jazz.
My name's Chris Medellin. I am a vice president at Loan Depot. I manage several states, Nevada being one of them. I have Arizona, Utah, Hawaii, New Mexico. And right now, I said Utah and Arizona. So right now what I'm trying to do is really help anyone who wants to be a leader in the retail mortgage space, which is like a whole beast of its own. It's a very niche situation. But people who are looking to grow in a retail space, I want to help them build it because I did it. I ran one of the most profitable, one of the biggest branches in the country, the biggest at Loan Depot, which is awesome. One of the biggest companies in the mortgage game. And we hired the most people. So now I'm in that role where I just want to be a coach to people that can help. And I also have a top 1% podcast called Breakthrough with Chris Medellin.
Let's go.
And so yeah, man, I think one of the things that always attracted me to you was the fact that like from the get, I remember looking at your Instagram saying, well, this dude's Instagram's dope. So we can do something here.
Yeah.
And to watch where you've grown in the last 5 years is just amazing.
Yeah. Cause we've always, stayed in touch. We've always responded to each other's DMs, texts, all that stuff. And I've told you this, you're probably one of the few bosses that I've had that actually like made an impact. And I I left, retail and I was on the broker side. I did the broker thing for a while. And I approached you and I was like, man, hey, like I'm thinking about this. And I approached you first as a friend and you gave me a response like, hey man, like let's do it. You could do it. Like you walk me through like what that looks like. So how many conversations are you having with like brokers who want to come back to the retail world because, hey, I miss my benefits, or hey, I miss being a part of a company culture. I miss being part of something bigger than myself. Like how are those conversations and how many of them are you having?
Well, it's funny because where my market is in the east area of Arizona, or in Phoenix Metro, there's two really big broker companies that got built out of that. And they were from very disenfranchised individuals that went and built, that hated retail and went and built brokers. And then they just kind of grew it. It just turned like wildfire. So what we saw is this migration of people going from retail to brokers. And so when I would see like an LO that I knew through the market with that name next to them, they were broker, I just didn't even call them because there was this whole broker is better movement. And, it was almost nauseating because it's so great. Everything's amazing. And then one day, so with my Instagram, a lot of what I'm posting, or at the time I was posting, was really a day in the life, some behind the scenes of things. So my stories are a lot of behind the scenes of what's happening. And somebody reached out to me who had gone from retail to broker in Utah. And he was like, hey man, I'm thinking about going back to retail. And it was the first time I heard that, like probably 6 months ago, somebody like reaching out, and they were like, it's because I'm watching what you're doing and I want to be a part of something bigger.
Mm.
And so then I was like, well, there's something there, because, you know, there's some basic needs that loan officers need. One, they need leadership. People like structure.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked from home and it's depressing. I can't do it.
Man.
I'm like, I need to be around people. You know, some people like benefits. Some people like a 401k. Some people like some infrastructure. I mean, you know, entrepreneurism isn't not for everybody.
Yeah.
People like to be a part of something bigger. And so for those individuals, I was like, there's somebody out there who made a decision and now they're lonely. They're sitting in their basement. And so to go back to your question, like, what am I hearing? I just started really going after and having conversations now. And I'm surprised. I'm looking at the engagement of what people are saying in DMs and that sort of thing that are with brokers that are now watching what we're doing because of the content we're putting out. So I would say over the next 6 months, especially with you and your testimony on your kind of your story, I think will bring to light that it is okay to go back. You know what I mean? Because I think that there is this thought like, oh, is that admitting failure that I'm going? No, I think it's like you want something bigger. And I got to applaud you for being willing to do that.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah. I'll just share really quick why I think this is the best move and why I know this is the best move for me. I reached out to you and I said, hey man, I want to build something. I want to be a part of something bigger than me. I want to build something, and I need the infrastructure. I need the support. I need the backing. I need the guidance to build it. You've done it. On the broker side, it's great, right? I don't think one is better than the other. It just depends on.
Yes, I mean, I think I actually really want to do this, to put a side by side of the benefits of each, because I think there are. And then as the individual has to figure out, well, where do I fit into all this? What's important to me? I mean, yes, you're going to get better rates.
Yeah,
you
100%.
might even get more comp.
Yeah.
But you're sitting in your basement with nobody to help you, right?
Yeah.
And I think that infrastructure is a really big deal. For some people that don't like people and want to do that, it's a really good model, and it could really propel them. And for others, it's like, man, I like being around people, you know? And so I think that's the biggest thing. But I am curious. I wanted to ask you this question. What was the catalyst for you reaching out? Do you remember what like sparked the interest for you to say, let me reach out to Chris on this? Had this been something you were thinking about, or?
Since 2020, when we worked together, I had always wanted to build something that was bigger than myself. And so I was talking to Maddie, my wife, and I was like, Chris is doing something very special. You know, he's in Utah now. He's in Hawaii. You didn't have those states before. It's like, we see your evolution and we see your growth. And I told Maddie, I was like, I want to be a part of that. I want his help and his guidance and his knowledge on how I can do that here in Vegas and expand, right? So I was like, I'm going to reach out to him. I'm going to see what that looks like. Because for me on the broker side, I'm paying for my own assistant. I'm paying for my credit reports. I'm paying my own taxes on my commission that I'm receiving. So at the end of the day, when you compare apples to apples and we did an analysis, I'm probably making like 195,
with a lot of work,
with a lot
like
of work,
bookkeeping, and this and that,
doing all that, exactly, doing all that myself. So I was willing to take a pay cut, essentially, right, to catapult myself in the next 6 months to a year to something bigger and better with the support and the structure. That's what was sort of the catalyst. It was watching your growth, watching your content, watching how vulnerable you were, and just how open you were to sharing, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, that, you know, you reached out to me at a really, really weird time, because, you know, with content, we don't tend to share all of the vulnerable stuff or the losses. And dude, I was taking some L's. Like you know, for all the success that you might've seen I've had, there's a lot of L's in there, right? And it sucks. I mean, so right around a time that you were calling, my back was against the wall because when I took a step, when I went from branch manager to area manager to regional manager, when I took that step to regional, one of the conditions was that I took all my sales managers that were helping me on the day-to-day in those branches, and I elevated them to a branch manager. Now, there's a big difference between being a sales manager and a branch manager. And a branch manager now has ownership of a business. So I'm giving you the keys to the P&L. And the keys to the P&L have some responsibilities that you have to grow the P&L.
Yes.
And if you cannot and are not willing to grow the P&L, then we can't work together. I can't help you. If you're not willing to understand what your margin is and how to grow, how to break even, and then how to grow it from there, if you're not willing to do that, and I went like 2 years with people on my team that were leaders that weren't willing to do that. But because the market had shifted and I got all this new territory and I had focus kind of split everywhere, it was like, I was just like, they're going to come, it's going to hit them. I just got to give them time. I'm going to let them focus because, you know, in the beginning, you know, especially with producing managers, their income is coming from their own deals. So when you shift it to now you're owning a P&L, you own a business, I really took for granted that was going to be an easy shift, and it wasn't. And so I lost, like, when I look at my 3 biggest guys that I was like, we hit
your ride or dies.
My ride or dies, they all couldn't do it. And we had to part ways, and that hurt. Like that sucks. So what's crazy is like, you're like, hey, the difference is that you came and you said, hey, I want to do this and show me the way. They never really said that.
Yeah.
They just kind of assumed it was going to be easy because I was there and I would do it for them.
Yep.
Well, that wasn't my role anymore. So now it's really like, you know, and I think when you and I were talking, I was also onboarding like 2 other leaders.
Yeah.
So as everything was going on really fast, but back against the wall, we did it. I think I lost $40 million in volume. Like I had a small team like walk, which was the best thing that ever happened because it put my back against the wall, hired, you know, 2 other leaders, and then got these people. So it was like the best thing because it opened up my mind to, I was doing this wrong. And so, so yeah, man, I'm stoked when I hear you say you want to go and grow it. So question for you, like you left Loan Depot, right? You left the company, you left retail, I should say.
Yeah.
And then you went off and did the broker thing, and now you're looking at coming back. Value proposition for somebody that's like looking to you, that's going, Ivan, you know, I want to come in. I'm interested because I'm, you know, everybody said brokers, you know, are the best, but you actually made the move back. What do you say to them?
I think it's having them really figure out what they want, or do they want to be a part of something? Do they want to be on a team? Do they want to have that camaraderie? Do they want to have like that atmosphere? Like, hey, we want to really grow our brand. We want to grow our social media presence. Because I feel like there's still a big gap of individuals, loan officers, that really aren't utilizing social media to its fullest potential. And
Agreed.
The majority of my business comes from social media.
Does it really?
Yeah. The connections with realtors, clients will reach out to me on social media. So I'm helping individuals and I'm not getting rewarded. What I mean by that is like they're not on my team. So now I want to invite them to my team. Let me help you with your content. Use your expertise because you know, amazing content, and really help them take the business to the next level with, hey, this is how you can do DMs to realtors where you're not sounding like a salesman or you're not sounding too pushy, right? So just like little strategies that I've used to grow my business. And so I think it's very, very important that we utilize social media because it's a warm introduction. They're already following you. You're following
Without
them.
a doubt, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like, hey, so what did you do this weekend? Did you play or did you
Yes.
work?
Yes.
That pushy salesman. Social media is just the easiest route.
So walk me through it. I'm curious about this because so if I'm hearing you right, you have a really good avenue of like it's kind of just you just know how to do it. You open your phone and you start conversing DMs, right?
Yeah.
It's a weird thing about DMs because sometimes like by the end of the day, I'm looking for a DM, like somebody threw their phone number and I got to call them back.
Yeah.
And it's like so far down because I can't believe how many interactions we're having in DM that are just quick, you know, conversations. But for someone who doesn't understand that business, what have you done? Like, how did you start to interact with agents? And are you commenting on their stuff? Are you, what does it look like when you initially see somebody and you're like, oh, that's good content.
Mm-hmm.
You want to, how do you start that conversation in a DM?
Yeah. So first you qualify the agent, right? Hey, how much production are they doing right now?
Yeah.
And
so you're actually going back a step. Yeah. And you're
100%.
Okay, this is good. This is good. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not.
This is so funny because I am like, if I can tell if they're good or not by the content.
Yeah.
And if they're not good, they're going to be good if they have good content,
Yes.
Like if they're not yet, so I don't even look at it sometimes, but that's a good.
So now I have to like shift now because I want to start reaching out to loan officers as well. So for a real estate agent, I will, one, follow them, look at their content, see if I like their personality, and see if I like the content that they're pushing out. And if I do, then I'll go look at their numbers. And based off of their numbers and they meet a certain criteria, okay, let me start the subtle engaging, liking a post, commenting, responding to some DMs, or sending them DMs to their stories, and then little by little, after I built some trust or my reputation, then I kind of just have a casual conversation on their business. Or hey, congratulations on that close, man, that's awesome. And then just let it progress from there. Like organically.
How do they respond to that?
Usually 9 times out of 10, great.
Yeah.
Some people won't respond at all, and that's fine. You're not for me. That's okay.
It's an interesting thing because I think there's the thirsty lender, right? That's like, and then there's the creepy lender that's trying to get dates.
Yeah.
And then there's, and then there's, you who you've always been very much authentic in the sense of you put out your life, you're letting people know what you're about. And so when you comment, there's some, even with me, even when you quit, and it hurt me deeply when you quit, the first time. But even then, after that, you would still engage with me. And I was like, there's no reason for him to engage with me. There's nothing I can do for him right now because he's already made the decision not to be here. But it was authentic. It was like, hey, so I do think that there's that piece that's important. So for loan officers that are looking to build a presence, you don't always have to be really good at content.
No.
But your comment and your engagement game has to be top notch.
Yes.
And I think if you can marry the two, then it skyrockets.
100%.
So from a branding perspective, you have been able to build a pretty phenomenal brand.
Thanks.
Where did that thought process get laid with you? Like, where did you feel like that was something important for your business?
Yeah. So, when I started seeing other successful loan officers really implement content into their business, and just having conversations like, well, what's a mortgage? And just before he blocked me, Neil, seeing his content and how.
Do you remember what it was? Let's talk about that for a second, because you actually. I hope Neil sees this, but
you got to send this.
So
to
Neil,
him.
you have to unblock him because we're friends, and he's working at Loan Depot, so you need to unblock him. But I don't remember what it was. But he was like, he reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, do you know this dude? I think I saw that he worked with you." And I was like, "Yeah, he quit. Fuck that guy." No, I'm kidding.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Block him. No, I know, but he was like, yeah, he was like, yeah, he stole some of my content, and I get it, but it was like some, I don't know what he said, but
so let me tell you what happened.
Yeah,
so he reaches out to me, and we have like an hour-long conversation, dude, or like 30, 45, something like.
And that's Neil. He's not like gonna get on and off the phone. He'll talk to you.
Yeah, we had a great engaging conversation, and then at the end of the conversation was the pitch. Hey man, I'm throwing an event.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he said, "Hey man, I'm throwing an event. I'll give you 50% off." I was like, "This motherfucker." And
I didn't even get the phone call. I just got a voice DM, and I signed up.
You were special, bro. So, anyways. And I'm like, dude, I was really looking forward to going. I was like, yeah, man, for sure. Send me the link. So he sends me the link, 50% off. And then what happened? Oh, we were moving because we were buying our first house.
Yep.
So I was like, hey, bro, I'm not going to be able to go. And I thought that's why he blocked me.
Oh, yeah.
And so I had seen his content. Obviously, it was great.
Yeah.
That's when I started following him when he reached out to me. I was like, oh, dude, your content is great. Awesome. yes, I got inspiration from his videos. I don't think I took it verbatim because we don't speak the same. So I was like, okay, dude, I tell every single lender that steals my content, there's only so much 20% down you can do credit repair. This is what you need to buy a house. There's only so much you can
I've
do.
seen
with
you
like,
speak on this. You posted it one time.
this.
I thought that was a good.
So, then I go to show a friend like, yeah, dude, you need to look at this guy because his content is great.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. And so I go and I'm like, fuck, he's not coming up. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So then I tell my friend, can you look up this guy? I think he blocked me. So then he looks him up. I was like, yeah, dude, this guy was like, this motherfucker blocked me.
Oh my gosh.
Of a bitch. So that's what happened.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing.
So funny.
Yeah. But
So funny. Well, what's funny is I think he's evolved in the idea of that, because I think in the beginning, you know, it's weird. Like, remember like where we were in 2020, like we were testing podcasting.
Yeah,
we were
everything.
like doing lives, and it was like a really fun time to
Short
be.
form,
yeah.
long form.
It was a fun time to be in mortgage, and it was a fun time to be a mortgage. So we were like brilliant, you know, you're brilliant when there's good business and rates are at 2%. But one of the things that Neil, I think has come around to is I can sell this. And so now he sells the scripts, right? Like, so you're welcome.
Me
you're
now,
welcome.
bro.
You're
What the
welcome, right?
he's selling his scripts.
Yeah, he's selling the scripts. So
everybody's posting
so
these.
I agree. Like, I know a Neil. Like, I'm like, oh, you can buy his scripts too. You know, like I see it, right? So, but
he's
yeah,
great at what he does.
And I think it's evolved since then. I almost think he probably doesn't even remember that he blocked you. We're gonna call him.
Yeah, call him right now.
But that would be funny. So yeah, dude. So I think you know what you're doing and how you can help people. So when you came on board the first time, I had this vision.
Yeah, answer that. So when I reached out to you, I told you what I want.
Yep.
And I told you the vision, and I said, hey, I want to be a replica of you.
It's a good question.
A mini you, right?
Yeah.
And you said, no, I want you to be you.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah.
Walk me through what went through your head, what's going through your head now as we're trying to build and we're doing something special here in Vegas.
Well, so this is a good conversation. So I remember that day, and I always ask myself this question when I'm meeting with somebody. It's like 3 questions. It's do I want to work with them? Like, are they cool? Like, do I want to be in the room with them and hang out? Do I have time to help them? And can I help them? Like, do I have the skills required to get the boulder out of the way that's going to hold you back from success? And if the answer is 3 yeses on that, then I'm in. I think the only hesitancy with you was the seriousness of it. Like, if we do this, is he going to be all in on it, right? Because it's going to require a lot of time. And so my thought was, he's either going to stay broker or come to us. Right. That was it. And then I called you and not realizing there was a third option. And I was like, well, fuck that. Like, there's not going to be a third option. If you're working retail, you're working at Loan Depot. So I needed to understand like the kind of deal, you know, you were getting, and really make sure that we can compete, because I've told you from the get, I will always be honest with you. And I don't think I'm anything special. So I want to work with people that I can work for later. Like, I literally want to be the guy who is in the corner that your team is going, Ivan, why the fuck is that guy still here? And you're like, don't worry about it. We have a deal. Like, you know, he's going to have a job till he's 80, you know, like, don't worry about him. But I want to be that guy that's in the back that, you know, is offering advice, you know, because I made some bets on some really smart young people. And, you know, I'm 48 years old, and, you know, I feel like we're in our primes for this business, but I'm going to have an expiration date on what I'm doing. And I only want to work with people that I can work for. Yeah. And so if I can do that, and I think you were like, you have it, you have the thing, that's going to attract people to you. Now it's aligning the messaging, reframing your brand, and marketing the fuck out of it. Yeah. Like, those 3 things, if we could do that, you're going to be on fire.
Man, that just gave me some goosebumps. So, in this new, I want to talk a little bit about you, because in this new position that you're in, because how long have you been in this position now?
2 years now.
2 years.
Yeah. And it feels like it's very new. I feel like I'm just learning it.
Yeah. what's your messaging to branch managers that say, hey man, I want to have what you have. Like I want to build something big. Like you're
Man,
in
hey,
4 or
this is a
5
good question.
states.
I'll tell you this exact thing that I wish somebody told me. What are the things you hate doing right now, right? And I would say I hate saying no to people, and I hate being at my computer. And then they would have said, well, that's that job. Your job is to tell everybody no, because loan officers have great ideas, right? They have great ideas. And their branch managers don't like to say no.
Yeah.
So then they're like, hey, can you fucking tell this guy no for me? And I'm like, I got to say no. Like, I like to be I want to be the hero of the day, right? So I think the biggest thing for me was realizing that I'm not the hero of the day. I'm not. You're the hero of the day.
Yeah.
I'm Yoda.
Yeah.
I'm in the back. I'm giving advice.
Yeah.
And the problem with me is that when I watched Star Wars, I wanted to be Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
You know, that was it. Like I wanted to be the main character of the movie. And what I had to realize is that in order to be successful at this job, I cannot be Luke Skywalker. I have to be Yoda. And that was, that took me, what, almost 2 years? Yeah, I learned this year, right? So I'm 2.5 years into the role. I learned that this year. And I learned that by taking L's and realizing, you know, I would tell my managers, I'll get them, you keep them.
Yeah.
Dumbest thing I could have said, because what that said is I'm going to do your job and you just got to maintain it. But that's not, they needed to do their job.
Yeah.
And they needed to maintain it, because I gave them keys to the castle. I gave them the P&L. I gave them the business. So what I would tell the loan officer, I would tell people today is that this role is, well, one, it's a massive pay cut from what you're doing on the streets. It's a massive pay cut.
Damn.
But there is some rewards, because really I've never aligned my pay with the job. I never looked at it that way. In fact, I couldn't even tell you what I make anymore. Like my wife handles all of it.
Same.
And I know that she's like, yeah, bro, you need to work a little
you need
harder.
to get a part-time job.
Yeah, so she's like, but you know, we're also in a weird market, but if you can grow it, and you can administratively be good at it, then you can teach people how to be the hero of their story, and then them teach their people how to be. Like for you as a leader, when you're talking to a loan officer, you have to look at their situation and what's holding them back. So what's your goal? You know, if I was talking to you, I'd say, Ivan, what's your goal? Well, it's to grow what you did. What's in your way of doing that today? You know, well, I'm at a broker and I can't do that there. Okay, well, let's remove that barrier first.
Yeah.
Make the move, right? Now what's in your way? Well, I don't understand what you do. I go, okay, well, let's build a plan on that, right? We're going to do some deals together. We're going to get you off the, make some offers, get some people on board. And then the next step is going to be, you got to onboard them. And that's going to be hard, right? So it's, once you get through all those steps, my job is to just direct you on where to go, but not do for you. And I think that for you, is doing that for LOs. Like, what's in your way? You know, you're talking to a LO. It's like, well, I don't do any content. Are you willing to? Yes. Okay, then let's get in the room and let's do some content.
Let's go.
Right. And I'm not going to do this unless you're willing to do it for at least a year.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're not doing it for a year, you're not going to see anything today. You know, it's a long-term play. And so I think for you, it's just removing the barriers that are holding people back.
Yeah.
And as I do for you, you got to do for them.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So now, Alec Hansen posted a video that I actually said, dude, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, you need to like talk about this one. I think that's also what, like, because I was like, do I want to go?
Yeah.
Like, that's what kind of pushed me. Shit, like everything they're offering right here, this list, there was like a 5 or 6 minute long video.
It was
it's
an 8-minute video.
8 minute, yeah.
And anybody who wants to see it, just go to my Instagram. And it's on there. But yeah, it's a dope video.
What would you say are the top 5 points from that video? Because there was more than 5, but what would you say are like the baddest 5?
So I think what's really big is that we're the only mortgage company that is not really pushing from a marketing perspective that it's Loan Depot. We're pushing that in order for you to get business in your marketplace, you have to leverage you. And so the first thing that Alec did was say, we will revamp all of your social media. Like we're gonna do a makeover on you. And it's the beginning of the video to show like we're gonna take what you look like today and we're gonna blast it out in a different way and we're gonna help you with content. Not only that, but then he talks about how they're developing scripts, they're giving you the tools to do your own content. So literally somebody can get hired and open their phone and have a script ready on there and just look at a script and then they're going to edit it for you. Now there's a charge for that, but like being able to offer that out the gates is huge. Then it's like, we got leads. We're a digital company. So everything that we do is just within an infrastructure of Mello that allows the consumer to do business with us through their phone, make it super easy. No other lender has that the way that we have it. And then it just kind of goes into, so there's tech, there's branding, there's marketing, there's leads, and then there is how you can, there's some systems where we give money back to consumers who do deals with us through some down payment assistance programs that are like very proprietary to Loan Depot. Like I think we have a deal right now where we give $9,000 back.
That's crazy.
To the consumer, right? If they're in specific areas, but that's big. And in fact, they don't even have to move to that area. They can live in the area currently and move out of the area. And as long as they were there, they get $9,000, which is huge. So I think all those tips were really big. And Alec did a phenomenal job building that video. But it's funny because I tend to not try to sell that because it's like, really like, can I help you? What do you want? So if I show up to the meeting and like, check out everything we do, everybody's like, yeah, whatever, people want to know what is it that I have that, here's my problems.
Yeah.
And
so it's kind of like backwards. You listen to their problems and say, hey, look, you don't have any leads. Well, we have this service that you can sign up for that can give you some leads, but obviously we want you to be doing business of your own. But
that's the icing on a cake. Those leads are dope. I mean, if you take 13 calls, you're funding one.
Yeah.
13 calls, fund one.
I've closed a few of those when it first came out, or when I was back at Loan
I mean,
Depot.
it is an easy program, and you can't lose on that.
And you get connected with a realtor, right?
Yes.
And then, hey, this is an opportunity.
Yeah. So then we have this thing called Grand Slam, where you can give once if you get to the consumer first, and they don't have an agent, you connect them with your agent that you pick to be in the program. Then you say, if you use us both through this entire transaction, we're going to give you a check at the end of this for like, I don't know, it's like $2,500 or something like that, but that's free money. And it has nothing to do with escrow. It's literally a check that they get. And so in the markets like this, where you have guys like you can literally show up with one of those big checks and get content from it. But you start putting that out and that's game over, because if I'm talking to somebody that randomly got my lead on Zillow or but you're offering me $2,500 at the end of it. And they also get like this basket of Nest doorbell or Ring, Nest.
So you get a bunch of goodies.
They get the whole, they get everything.
So it's like maybe $3,500 worth of goodies on top of the $2,500.
On top of that, yeah. And we know that you're going to price it low because they're shopping. That's how we bought it. So we already know that it's going to be a thin margin. But I mean, you give this deal to a realtor, it's game over.
That's awesome.
That's a big deal, especially for somebody right now in this market that's struggling.
Yeah.
It is tough.
So now let's talk about Vegas. Knowing our conversations and knowing what type of market Vegas is, what's the plan? What do you think should be the play?
Well, so, my vision has always been, I want a space where people can go that they're not worried about pipeline. They're worried about how they're building their brand and how they're doing business development activities. I was having a meeting with a loan officer this morning and I was telling her, loan officers sit within two dynamics. They're either two emotions. They have anxiety or they have confidence.
Yeah.
It's one or the other, right? And there's no middle ground. They're either anxious or they have confidence. And as leaders, our job and our platform is to make sure that they don't have anxiety. So what I train my leaders to do is look for problems before they become problems. So if we're really good, like I used to look at the pipeline on Sunday when I was a branch manager, I would look at the pipeline on Sunday and I would say, what deal is going to give me a headache this week? And I would look and I'd say, oh, this deal is supposed to close on Monday, but it's not even out of final yet.
Oh, shoot.
So, I would email the LO before they emailed me, like, what's going on in this deal? How can I help you? And that single thing would remove the pressure because if it puts you on offense versus defense as a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And as an organization, you know, the reason why somebody comes to a Loan Depot or any retail space is because they see that there's something there. That's my life is easier because I'm connected to this company or this platform.
The ecosystem.
It's an ecosystem.
Yeah.
I look at it like this. So there are startups that go to a VC, a venture capitalist, and they go to that venture capitalist and they say, "Hey, I'm a startup and we want to grow. So you're going to inject money into us, but you're going to open up your Rolodex and you're going to open up, you know, who you can connect us to in the industry that's going to help my small business grow." That's why that's why they go to a VC, is they want an injection of funds to grow. I look at small businesses like you to say, I now want to grow it and I need a platform to do that. So I'm not worried about payroll and BS like that. I can just focus on deals and helping people grow. And through that, I have scalability.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can scale it, then that's where it is. I mean, I got mortgage problems, bro. I mean, it's month end and you heard me on the way here. We're trying to get deals through, but I don't have a scaling problem. You know, I got mortgage problems, but I don't have a scaling problem. Because
mortgage problems are good. Like to have versus scaling, right? Because if you can't scale,
if you're stuck, then that's a problem, right? If you went out and got a big team today, I can pull resources and you won't know the difference.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's some team at Loan Depot that's not performing that great that we can pull them and move them over here. You won't know that. You won't feel that. You won't know that. We just want you to keep the gas, going and keep growing it. So that's what helps us is having that scalability.
And I think that's also what I noticed when I was recruiting loan officers on the broker side, because I had recruited like 5 or 6 to join the broker world. And I was like, man, the money's not really there. Because they know, hey, if you go to broker, you can make 250 to 275. So you can't tell them like, hey, you're going to make 150 or 175. Well, who's keeping the rest? Well, I am. Okay, but why? Why?
Yeah,
right?
why? Yeah.
So I was like, man, I don't like lying, and I can't just say, oh, I'm just going to keep it just because I want to keep it.
Yeah.
So then I was just like, okay, look, I'm not going to do this. Do you want to join broker world? Join the broker world. I'll help with it. And then I was having the conversation with Matt, and I was like, this is not scalable. It's too hard. And even the broker owner of the company, he's a good friend now. And he's like, yeah, eventually I want to grow it to X, to this.
Yeah.
To a retail model.
Well, that's, you and I were talking about this, but this is the part I don't understand is like, there's all these people that left retail because they hated retail. They hated like the man.
Yes. The bank.
And then they want to do exactly what they hated. They're
Same
like,
model.
here's my full margin and I'm going to hire people and I'm going to pay them less margin so that I can make more money. Right. So then it's like, well, dude, like
same shit.
There's a way to do that. Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk pricing for a second, because that's the biggest thing, right? That's the biggest, like, and for those of you that are not in Vegas, Phoenix and Vegas are traditionally high comp areas. So if you talk to a loan officer in these markets, most likely they're already making 150 to 200, depending on the type of clientele they have. And if they're Spanish speaking, a lot of times it's higher. It's like 200 because they have to take that client a long way to get them to affordability to get them there, right?
Yes.
There is getting money in the bank that needs to be seasoned. It's just really, the credit needs to be a certain place. Maybe getting a couple of family members to move in with them. That's 50% of the business that's on the market right now. I just posted about it today. So there is it was the best so far, bro. Somebody just said that to me. So anyway, no, but I mean, so knowing that, then you and I were pricing, because I'm like, whenever I talk to a broker, I will usually say it's all good, but you're gonna hate my pricing.
Yeah,
because it's not where you're at.
Yeah.
So we priced out like, we were comparing option A, stay broker, option B, another retail mortgage company, and option C, Loan Depot. And we did like a 620 FHA. And I think we were very close within like striking distance of all of them. In fact, I think broker world was killing us by 37 basis
Yep.
points or something like
Yeah,
that,
nothing crazy.
which I can PE that
Yeah.
out, pricing exception it out, or, take out that margin. And then, but when we went to conventional, we priced a 780, 80% deal. Yeah, 780, 80%, $300,000 deal. You were like, no way.
Yeah.
No way. There's no way, because
was-
you're 2 points on option B, and I think we were like a point better on our. No, I don't remember how much.
I think it was like 75 or
Yes.
50 basis points
Better
than UWM.
than UWM, which
Yeah.
is a broker.
And you're like, take a screenshot of that, send it to me.
I
I'm
was
posting
like,
this shit.
exactly, because I was like, dude, we're doing a podcast just on that conversation, because I was like, holy shit, like, because every day you're dealing with a loan officer who's dealing with affordability.
Mm-hmm.
And some broker that stole the deal. And so that gets stuck in your head. But here's what UWM did, in my opinion. Or I'll just say brokers. Here's what happened. Remember when Uber was cheap?
Yeah.
Uber was cheap. It's not cheap anymore, but now you're so used to using Uber that you're not using anybody else.
Yeah.
Amazon used to be cheap. It's not cheap anymore.
No.
Like, they got you hooked on the technology, and then they changed the game on you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the business model, and so it'll ebb and flow, and they may crush us next month, or we may crush them, or whatever. But at the end of the day, you got to look at your business and say, where do I want to be?
Yeah.
And if I take rate out of it, what do I want to go to every day? If I hate people and I love my home office, then go broker.
Yeah.
But if you want camaraderie, support, building my brand, and coming to a place that has energy, then you go retail. There's just, you want to scale business, it's the retail model all day long.
Man, and I was telling my wife this morning, actually, because we were talking and we were having coffee, and she's like, man, but some, UWM or broker, they have lower rates. And I was like, babe, I want to stop you right there. Anytime that you're selling the lowest whatever, there's going to be somebody that's going to that's going to do it cheaper.
Yeah, better.com will crush you. Yeah,
100%.
all day long, yeah.
So you don't, yes, it's important to have competitive rates. Keyword competitive. It's not important to have the lowest rate, because how many times have we been beaten with our low rates? And she's like, yeah, you're right. A lot of times. There's always going to be somebody lower that's willing to do it for 25 basis points, 50 basis, whatever that is, right? So you have to change your mindset to sell your service, sell your branding, sell you as the professional, the expert, that you're going to guide them. Yes, our rates might be a little bit higher, but if you go to better.com, like, can you call that loan officer after the deal closes and say, hey man, I have this question about, what we just closed. No, they're not going to answer because they're done. He's on to the next one. So I'm a huge believer of providing value to the client, and they'll refer other clients.
I agree with the value. So I'm going to try to explain this, and hopefully I don't mess it up. But if I do, you could delete it out. But but the biggest, I've been playing around with this idea because this happened to me a long time ago. So my wife and I didn't have like life insurance or like any sort of brokerage accounts or anything like that. This is a while back. This is like, I don't know, 10 years ago. And so we're like, well, we gotta figure this out. So we hooked up with somebody from Ed Jones. I think it was Ed Jones. No, Northwestern Mutual.
Yeah.
And those guys are like sharks, man. Their training is amazing.
Yeah.
Because they got the most amazing follow. But anyway, this guy was like, I have to meet with you. And I'm like, dude, I can't meet with you. Like, I'm busy dealing with my wife. She'll handle all this. And he's like, no, I got to meet with you. And I got to meet with you guys. And so where can we meet? So we decided we were going to meet at this like bar or restaurant. And so we go there, and for like an hour and a half, we sit down, and he has this really nice like folder that he had done a quick questionnaire with me that I'd answered. And then he said, to get you where your goals are, this is what it looks like. It was like a really nice presentation. He ate up all my brain capacity for this, right? And so when I left, I was like, whatever that guy wants, give it to him, right? I'm out. Like, I am done talking about this. And I think that our brains have a certain amount of capacity for whatever task we got to take. And the moment you start going outside of that capacity, it becomes an annoyance, and I don't want to deal with it anymore. And so for people who are busy, LO's job is to eat up that brain capacity. So if I can sit you down and say, here are 5 options that you have, and lay it out. And let me also, you see this chart right here? Rates were in the 2s 2 years ago. And this is what's happened every week since then. It's sticker shock, I know, but this is the truth, right? This is what's happened. Now, this is what we're going to do for you, because no matter what rate I give you today, we're going to refinance it in like 6 months to a year anyway. But you can afford now. But here's why you want to buy. Because the moment those rates drop, everybody's coming out of the woodwork to buy the house that you want.
Mm-hmm.
And that house is going to go up by 100,000 probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can educate somebody sitting down face to face with them and really take that time, your likelihood of being shopped, it's not going to cure it, is less likely, because you've eaten up their brain capacity. They're like, dude, okay, if I got to go do this with Ivan number 2, I'm not doing all this. Just here, you know?
Yes.
And I was talking to, she's really dope. If you're not following her, Theoni the lender, do you follow her?
No.
She's huge on TikTok.
Okay.
Amazing. And amazing because she's feisty. Like, she cusses. She's like, you know,
authentic.
and her thing is like, I just know I'm better than anybody else you're going to use. I don't give a fuck. Then that's her thing. Like, I know I'm better. So, and because she says that, I believe she's better. But anyway, she said, I will tell people, I am going to answer your call on the weekend. I'm going to answer your call at night because I'm better than anybody. But if you are shopping me, I need to know this, because I will not give you that time.
Ooh.
I need to know you're locked in with me. And I was like, that's the level of confidence she has, because I got other deals, people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to waste my time, you're not going with me and you're shopping me, I need to know this now, because I don't have time for that. Yeah. And she's like, most people won't do it because I have that. I'm not messing around.
You're telling them right then and there.
And I think she did a post one time where she did a post about an LE. You've seen the post, like, yeah, Rocket's giving you whatever, right? She did. I think she was one of the first that did it, and she got 500 LEs over the weekend. Like, look at my LE, look at my LE. So she was like, I wasn't prepared for that.
500.
I had her on the Breakthrough podcast, and the Breakthrough podcast talk about like the level of like depth of in a hole you were in.
Mm-hmm.
Her level of depth in a hole that she was in, because she's young, was I did a post that went viral, and I didn't have the right systems for all the business I got. And I was like, that's not really like a hole. That's the best problem anybody wants to have right now.
Give me something like was bad.
No,
Did you like
that's the
bankruptcy
level.
or something?
No, nothing. She was like, yeah. I had too many leads. That was her biggest problem.
I don't know what to do with all of them.
So, but yeah, man. But I think, overall, I think people have have allocated in their brain, whether they think it or not, a certain amount of time that they're going to give to any task. And if you can eat all of it, then you're the one that they're going to use. And
that's a good strategy,
in my opinion.
Drain it all out. Well, Chris, we are at the hour.
Heck yeah, man.
What do you want? Where can people find you? Tell the camera, Breakthrough Podcast as well. All that good stuff. How can they find you? Text, email?
The Chris Medellin on Instagram. If you just follow me there, then in my link, there'll be a link to my podcast as well. But it's the Breakthrough Pod Official is the name of the Instagram. But check it out. And, honestly, I'm here for you, man. I call Ivan, and talk to Ivan. If you're out there and you're a broker and you are interested in, hearing more about this platform, this guy's been through both sides, and there's very few people who have gone from one back to the other. And so, scalability is why he's doing it. And, 100%. And we would love to help you.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, man. This is fun.
Yeah.
Dude, how many shitty podcasts do you have to sit through, man?
He tells